The figure of Pinhead stands as one of horror cinema's most enigmatic and disturbing creations. Yet beneath the pale skin, the grit of pins driven into flesh, and the whispered promises of exquisite suffering, lies a story that blurs the boundary between fiction and something far more unsettling. This exploration delves into the alleged origins of this dark priest of pain, examining how a tale of forbidden knowledge and transformation became one of horror's most enduring legends. According to the narrative presented in various sources, the man who would become Pinhead was born Elliot Spencer in 1887 in rural England. His entrance into the world was marked by tragedy, his mother's death during childbirth, a violent departure that seemed to foreshadow the darkness that would follow. The accounts describe an infant who didn't cry, whose silence spoke of an unnatural awareness. Spencer's childhood was characterized by isolation and cruelty. His father, broken by war and alcohol, saw the boy as cursed. The young Elliot endured abandonment and abuse, spending days locked away in darkness. Yet even in these early years, there were whispers of something different about the child animals reacting with fear or strange attraction, an aura that kept others at distance. When World War I erupted, Spencer enlisted not out of patriotism but from a death wish. The trenches of the Great War consumed millions, yet Spencer survived every bombardment, every gas attack, every bullet. His fellow soldiers reported disturbing behavior, conversations with shadows, words spoken in languages no one recognized, and the repeated invocation of a name, Leviathan. The war shattered what remained of Spencer's humanity. He returned physically intact but spiritually destroyed, hollowed out by horrors that would have broken lesser men. Yet for Spencer, this destruction was transformation. The suffering he witnessed and experienced opened his mind to darker possibilities, to the idea that pain itself might be a pathway to transcendence. Post-war, Spencer disappeared into Europe's shadows. He became a seeker of forbidden knowledge, haunting ruins and ancient libraries, pursuing whispers of a French artisan named Philippe Le Marchand who had crafted puzzle boxes in the 18th century. But these were no ordinary containers. They were said to be doorways to another realm, keys to a dimension where pain and pleasure merged into something beyond human comprehension. Spencer's obsession led him across the continent. In Paris, he found cryptic maps. In Budapest, diaries written in blood. Finally, in Istanbul, he acquired the object of his quest, the Lament Configuration, a puzzle box of dark metal that seemed to move of its own accord. The seller warned him against the purchase, claiming the box belonged to no earthly realm. Spencer paid no heed. What happened next remains shrouded in mystery and horror. Spencer secured himself in a basement with the box, surrounding himself with black candles. Neighbors reported hearing screams for 3 consecutive night screams that seemed to emanate from within the walls themselves. On the 4th day, silence fell. When authorities finally entered, they found the room empty save for disturbing stains and a message scrawled in dried blood. The flesh betrayed me, but pain revealed me. 11 years later, a figure appeared at a Roman convent, a naked man covered in symmetrical scars, with nails driven into his skull in a precise grid pattern. He required no food or sleep, and his wounds healed with impossible speed. When priests attempted to bless him, he responded in ancient Aramaic, speaking of pain as blessing and paradise as labyrinth. According to the lore surrounding Pinhead, Spencer had not merely died, he had crossed into another dimension known as the Labyrinth. This realm existed outside normal space and time, ruled by an entity called Leviathan, described as a massive spinning pyramid radiating impossible geometry and driving mortal minds to madness. Within this domain, humans who sought its mysteries were transformed into Cenobites, priests of pain, who explored the extremes of sensation. Spencer became the most feared of these beings. No longer human, he served as a high priest of agony, wielding chains and hooks with surgical precision. The Cenobites weren't demons in any religious sense, but something stranger. Explorers in the further regions of experience, where the boundaries between pain and pleasure dissolved entirely. The Lament Configuration became the key to accessing this realm. Those who solved its puzzle weren't victims, but willing participants, seekers who desired something beyond ordinary existence. The box didn't respond to innocent curiosity, but to deeper hunger, a craving for experience that transcended the limitations of flesh. And when opened with true intent, Pinhead would arrive, calm and methodical, ready to show the supplicant what lay beyond conventional reality. Throughout the 20th century, reports emerged of puzzle boxes appearing in connection with disappearances and unexplained deaths. People vanished from locked rooms. Others were found alive but transformed, their bodies marked by impossible wounds. Each case shared common elements: a metallic puzzle box left behind, victims who had been seeking something beyond ordinary experience, and the complete bafflement of conventional investigators. Secret organizations allegedly formed to contain and study these artifacts. The Vatican supposedly sealed ancient files. Government agencies tracked patterns, noting that the boxes seemed to appear in places of collective suffering: abandoned hospitals, former war zones, asylums. In these locations, reports would spike: shared nightmares, metallic sounds in darkness, and glimpses of a pale figure watching from mirrors. The transition from alleged reality to acknowledged fiction began in 1985 when British writer Clive Barker reportedly discovered a journal belonging to Elliot Spencer among a deceased relative's possessions. Whether this discovery was literal truth or narrative device, Barker became obsessed with the material. He crafted a script initially titled The Gospel of Pain, drawing on the descriptions of the Labyrinth, the Cenobites, and the puzzle box. When Hellraiser finally reached screens in 1987, audiences encountered Pinhead as a character of fiction, the hell priest who led a cadre of Cenobites in exploring the limits of sensation. The film's iconic imagery, the pale skin, the grid of pins, the leather costume, the chains and hooks created an indelible image in horror cinema. Doug Bradley's performance gave the character an eerie calm, a philosophical detachment that made him more terrifying than any raging monster. Hellraiser spawned a franchise that would eventually include 10 films, comics, novels, and merchandise. Yet strange reports allegedly accompanied this expansion. Theater employees reported incidents during screenings. Props from the films supposedly affected those who handled them. The more the character entered popular culture, the more whispers emerged of real disappearances connected to obsessive fans or replica puzzle boxes. The franchise gradually diluted its source material, making Pinhead more conventionally demonic, more Hollywood-friendly. Some interpretations suggest this was deliberate, that making the character into fiction was itself a form of containment. Or conversely, that fiction was the perfect vehicle for spreading an idea that thrived on belief and attention. What makes the Pinhead legend fascinating is how it functions as a contemporary myth. Like all effective horror, it speaks to primal fears and desires: the fear of suffering, the attraction to forbidden knowledge, the human tendency to seek meaning in pain. The character embodies the idea that our darkest curiosities have consequences, that some doors, once opened, cannot be closed. The legend also reflects our complex relationship with pain itself. In a world that seeks to eliminate all discomfort, Pinhead represents the shadow side, the recognition that suffering is inextricable from existence, that we cannot fully know ourselves without encountering darkness. The Cenobites' philosophy that pain and pleasure are indistinguishable at extremes. The Cenobites' philosophy that pain and pleasure are indistinguishable at extremes. The Cenobites' philosophy, comfortable assumptions about sensation and experience. Whether Elliot Spencer ever existed, whether any puzzle boxes truly open doorways to other dimensions, matters less than why such stories resonate. Pinhead endures because he represents something fundamental about human nature: our curiosity, our capacity for self-destruction, our hunger for experiences beyond the mundane. He is the consequence of seeking what should remain hidden, the price of forbidden knowledge. The character has transcended his origins to become an archetype, the Dark Seeker, the transformed human, the priest of pain. In an age of endless information and constant stimulation, Pinhead reminds us that some mysteries should remain unsolved, some boxes unopened. He exists at the intersection of fascination and revulsion, drawing us closer even as we recoil. And in that tension lies his eternal power, not to kill, but to reveal what we fear most about ourselves, our capacity to desire our own destruction, our willingness to open doors that should remain forever sealed.